Are you having difficulty trusting yourself, other people, the world at large? Have you been betrayed? Have you suffered PTSD from a trauma, or just 2020? Because I think all of us have come out of 2020 so far with some PTSD of some kind, just based on what we've experienced. And today we're going to talk about the sunset meditation from Medical Medium. And I have a guest with me today who has taken pictures of the sunset for 6 years, and every day for 6 years minus, I think, one. She'll let us know if I'm correct on that. But when I talked to her about this in September, she had taken 2,152 days straight of sunsets. And she's been posting them on social media the whole time, sharing them with the world. And I know that I personally tap into her photographs on days when I haven't been able to go out and watch the sunset myself, and I want to tap into that healing energy. So this is a really powerful way to help restore trust in yourself and in the world and other people. I think the most important aspect of that is restoring trust in yourself, because that's really, for me and my experience, what it all comes down to. You know, when you can't trust other people or the world, it really comes down to, do you even trust yourself? And trust your body too. And, you know, that is where kind of everything all starts. So before I introduce our guest, I just wanted to read a little bit from the Medical Medium, the first book that he has, because this is where he has the sunset meditation and many of the other meditations that he's been sharing with us on Apple Podcasts. But this particular one he hasn't put up on Apple Podcasts yet. And so I just wanted to read this to you all in case you have not read the book or heard this one yet. We all go through experiences that damage our ability to trust. Up to a point, that's helpful for survival. An abundance of innocence can lay the foundation for a major betrayal. And as this book has explained, unquestioning faith in even a well-intentioned doctor can be dangerous to your health. However, if you endure a traumatic betrayal, for example, having a spouse cheat on you or a business partner steal from you, it can cripple your ability to trust anyone. And perhaps worse, it can endanger your belief in yourself and your judgment. Along similar lines, if you've been told that you're sick because your immune system has gone haywire and is attacking you, you may on some level lose the ability to trust even your own body. Further, if you've been given incorrect information because, as is the case in many conditions in this book, the real culprit is a virus or bacteria, you may lose faith in your internal senses too. Such emotional blows create soul damage. They also hinder your ability to completely believe that you can overcome illness and recover your health. A simple yet profoundly effective way to heal such damage is to become aware of the sunset. Toward the end of the day, take a few minutes to watch the sun go down while never looking directly at the sun, which is damaging to the eyes. Or if you're in a building that blocks your view of the sky, be mindful of the sun during the time it's setting. If you're usually glued to your computer screen at this time of day, set a calendar reminder to shift your mental focus. You may feel a sense of loss as the sun goes down, yet as if a friend has gone away, with the promise of returning tomorrow. That's what makes this technique resonate on such a deep level. You face the falling darkness with the absolute, irrefutable knowledge that the light will return. Performing this exercise at least 3 times a week will change how you experience life in the best way. To get the most out of it, summon the angel of trust. When the sun appears above the horizon the next morning, even if you're asleep when it happens, your body will be attuned to the earth's rhythms. You'll click with the fact that, as promised, your friend has returned. The sun has risen every day of your life. It will continue to do so for the rest of your time on earth. Connecting with this truth that the sun will never let you down, the soul will relearn critical trust which will activate healing energy. So I just love this. And, you know, I started doing the sunset meditation intuitively before I ever even knew medical medium existed, when I had gone through some major trauma. And I think that's kind of what April Thompson is going to share with us too. So April's an amazing human being. I met her 10 years ago, I think, maybe not quite that long, but it's been a while. And the first time I met her, she gave me this little slip of paper with like this happy affirmation on it. And I'm like, who is this person? And I just had to know more. And so as I got to know her, I really found out how amazing she is and how much she spreads light and healing throughout the world. So I want to introduce you all to April Thompson. She's a personal trainer and a photographer. And April, welcome. So great to have you today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here. Nervous still, but
yeah, well, and I understand you haven't really done a lot of interviews like this, but don't be nervous. We're not going to bite. So April, why don't you tell us a little bit about your own personal experience with some of the things that were described in the reading that I just shared, and you know, in terms of like broken trust, betrayal, things like that. And what prompted you to really tap into the sunsets and start photographing them and sharing them with everyone?
Really, it's funny. It's some things you feel like they're just in you. You just start doing it. I guess I'd gone through some things, and then just nature always puts you in the moment, and you're not thinking about other things when you're out at the beach. And I started taking pictures, and then I was sharing them, and my dad was like, well, you didn't send me a picture today. And I was like, I didn't really know that you really noticed that. So I started counting them, and then I kind of felt like I sounded like Rain Man. I'm like, 2,151 days. You know, every day was like counting them. And but when you're consistent with something and you're dedicated to something, like it doesn't, I mean, to other people it looks crazy, but when you're doing it, and it's such a beautiful thing. And then you look back at your progress, and you can look back at a day and say, I remember that day. Like you remember what happened when. It's just a beautiful way to record things and to remember things, and just to see your progress in life and where you were and where you're at, and being in the moment. And it teaches you presence. Like now like I went back home to see my parents, and I left I'm always have my phone with me because I'm always taking pictures or something, but I was more present. Like I think being in nature like teaches me more presence, and like to put my phone away when I'm with people, rather than being like checking things, because it's like, what do I need to check? And there's not really anything to check if I'm not here present with. I'm missing out on what's in front of me right here. So it just teaches you presence more, and it's just such a beautiful. I can't imagine, like people like walk by and they miss out on beautiful things happening around them because they're like in their head. And I know there's a lot going on with everything going on in the world right now, but if I can't like add value or add something good to what's going on right now, I don't need to give attention to that, because me being negative about something's not going to make it any better. So I think that's what more people need to do. Wayne Dyer always said that. He said, if you can't add something good to it, then just don't put attention on it or don't shine light on it, which I think is a valuable lesson that he taught me. So.
Absolutely. I love it. And, you know, I definitely have been tapping into that a lot over the years, and, you know, that whole concept of trying to be present and, you know, learning presence. And I think when you've gone through a lot of trauma, like I did, and I know you had some trauma yourself, like, you know, it can become difficult to be present, you know, because when you're traumatized, a lot of times you want to dissociate, and as a protection mechanism, right? And so to actually be in your body and be present can be a very challenging thing. And what would you say to someone who might be experiencing that?
I just, nature for me heals me. Like, if I'm not out in nature, or get a little bird, she always has to be like in the center of the spot.
Introduce us to your friend.
I have a little child here. This is Oceana.
Her name
She's
and
named
everything.
after, yeah, she's I love the ocean, and she's such a light. My mom bought her all these little props, which took my sunset videos to another level. She has a little camping set that I had last night with a little tent, and she went into it, and I was like, yes, like just took it to a whole nother level. Like, so, but I don't know, she's just such a light. Let's say, get a bird or go to the beach.
Yeah, definitely ways to connect with nature. Even like you see the plants behind me, because we're not allowed to have pets in our building, you know, that is a way that I can connect with nature in my home, you know, and all of those things are really important when you're dealing with trauma and PTSD, or even, you know, even on a lesser scale, like, not that it's less to deal with, but, you know, like, you know, breakups, betrayals, all those kinds of things. You know, we're seeing so much of that come up right now in the world. And I think that's why I really wanted to have this conversation right now. It's so important for people to know that there are simple things that they can do. You know, when you're struggling with some major issues that cause you to want to dissociate, it's very difficult to meditate, you know, in a traditional sense, where you sit and still and try and, you know,
Right.
watch your thoughts and all of that. To me, it's actually kind of cruel to try and do that to yourself, because you're not in a position to be able to handle that yet. You know, when you're really just trying to come out of the initial shock or trauma or whatever you've been going through, one of the best ways is just to very simply, you know, really try and connect with nature. You know, get outside, put your feet in the sand or in the grass, or, you know, touch a tree. You know, like, tree hugging is great. It really is. You know, if you have a pet, or you can get a pet, or if you can borrow someone else's pet, you know, I borrow a lot of the neighbor dogs. And, you know, just when I'm out walking, I get to pet them and stuff and spend a little time with them. And, you know, all of that is so, so critical when you're in that position. It really does help bring you back into your body for a few moments, and help you to understand that you're safe and that you can be safe again. And, you know, no matter what you experienced, what's going on right now in this moment, you know, and
Right.
knowing that in this moment, I'm safe, even though, you know, you may not have been safe in moments in the recent past or in the past far back. It doesn't matter how far back it goes, but understanding right now you're safe, and retraining your body to believe that, and your soul to believe that, and that it is safe to come back. And, you know, the medical medium meditations, I've been talking a lot about the brain meditation recently, which is super powerful. But I'll tell you, this sunset meditation was one that, like I said, I started doing intuitively. And April, you did too, because you didn't know about medical medium. Right. And, you know, this is just something that you tapped into intuitively. And it's just so powerful, you know. And so, you know, I really wanted to bring this to people and bring you to people, because if you can't get out, or even if you can, her pictures are amazing. Like, now she's doing videos and pictures and, you know, still shots and whatever. And they're absolutely stunning. And I do hope you're going to get them in a gallery soon for a showing and start selling them, because they really are truly, like, I take pictures of the sunset. Some of them come out pretty good, some don't. You know, I do it on my phone, but it's like, I swear, every time you take one, it's so magnificent. And I'm like, why don't they come out like that when I do it? So you really do have a talent for capturing it. And I suppose you've been practicing for so many years.
Practice helps.
Yeah. So where can people find your pictures and videos?
On my Instagram is US 8fit. Do personal training, so my mom and dad call me Ape for April, so it's 8fit, but somebody had 8fit, so I put USA and 8fit together. But it kind of only makes sense to me. So my personal training kind of became sunsets and birds. I don't know how that happened, but I always say adventure, passion, expression, fun, inspiration, transformation is 8fit instead of but
So you post them on your Instagram, but I think I've seen them also. Haven't I seen them on Twitter and LinkedIn and
they're kind of Vimeo and YouTube, and they're kind of everywhere.
Yeah,
they're kind of everywhere.
there's lots of places to see them, and they're truly beautiful. They're amazing pictures. I don't know if you have one you can show. I hate to put you on the spot because I didn't suggest that earlier before we met, but do you have any pictures you can show us, or no?
I probably.
Well, while she's looking for that, I also want to show you guys something that she sent me, because this is something that she's offering through her website, I believe. Is that correct? Yes. So, so she has, and these are examples of what she, when I told you I first met her, that I got this little slip of paper from her with an inspirational message, and she has been carrying this tradition on ever since. And I have here a little bag of messages, and it has a little tag on it that says "Gratitude turns life into gold." And so we're going to talk a little bit about gratitude in these messages too, because I know this has been a big part of what April's been putting out in the world, and it's so amazing. And so there's a little tag and a little bag of messages. So today's message for everyone, let's see, this is for the collective right now, anyone who's watching this particular video at this time, whether it's well, it'll all be on replay because we're not live. So here is the message for us as a group. I aspire to be a giver of love, a giver of good vibes, and a giver of strength. There we go. There's the message. So that's our message. So it's all about being a giver for us. So that's exciting. I love this. But this is all, I don't know how many messages are in here. Is there one for every day?
Yeah, there's 30, so one a day.
Yeah. So, and you're selling these now, right? These little message packs?
Yeah, I have them on my website for my photography is embracedetours.com. I kind of picked that name because I was standing on the Santa Monica Pier looking out and kind of at a detour. Like I got off I was like, what am I doing? And I was like, embrace the detour. Like, and that stuck with me. And that was like 5 years ago. And I came up with that. I was like, oh, this will go good with my photography. And that little, the little hummingbird on there, when quarantine started in March, I would go out every day to take pictures, and he would be out there, like my little buddy. Like when we couldn't go out anywhere, he would like greet me every day, and that's where I met the little hummingbird. So he's on the first little bag.
I love that. So, so these are available on her website, and what a great stocking stuffer this would be. Like, it's a no-brainer, right? I know in November, some people have a tradition of doing 30 days of gratitude, and, you know, and that's a great thing. Absolutely. But it saddens me when they get to December 1st and they stop, you know? This is a great reminder to do the gratitude every day, every month. You know, there's not one month out of the year that's particular to thanks and gratitude, but gratitude is such a beautiful practice to have. It really shifts just entirely how you look at life. Wouldn't you say, April?
It does. It changes everything. Changes everything.
It really does, you know, and it can change your life in every area, you know, if you practice gratitude with respect to all of that. So, you know, for instance, you can change your health by, you know, learning to have gratitude for your body. and everything that it does for you every day, instead of focusing on, and I'm specifically speaking to this because I work with the chronically ill, and if, instead of focusing on what's not going right or what's flaring up today, or not feeling great. And I know this can be difficult when you're really in the trenches and really ill, but the more you can focus on, like, when in my worst times, I used to write a gratitude list every day, and I really want to get back to that because it was so great to do. But it was so critical for me back then, because every day the first thing I would put on my list was that I was grateful for my body functioning as well as it was. This is how I worded it. I'm grateful for my body functioning as well as it is, no matter what is going on with it, like despite all of the things that are happening, because it's still keeping me going, even if I don't feel well, even if I'm suffering severe fatigue or chronic pain, at excruciating levels, like my body's still functioning and it's still fighting for me. And that was really important for me to express in writing that gratitude every day for my body. Just thank you for fighting through all this, even though things are don't seem great. Like, because the more you are disconnected from your body, or you blame your body, or you hate your body, this is a huge one for weight loss too. Wouldn't you say, like, personal trainer? Huge for weight loss. If you want to talk about that.
Yeah, that's what I always tell my clients, you got to love where you're at now. It's teaching you. And it always gets better, but you got to focus on what your body can do instead of what it can't do. That's the biggest thing, is just what can it do, because we can always focus on what it can't do, and that doesn't do you any good.
Right. Absolutely. And April, share with us a little bit, like, in your personal training business, what do your typical clients look like? Because, there's a lot of different types of personal trainers, and you do a very specific type of training, don't you?
I kind of have a lot of different clients, but I have a lot of older clients now. Like, we do a lot of stretching, keeping them moving. Like, you got to keep moving. If you stop moving, you stop moving. So, and just putting the best, you have to take care of yourself and put the best stuff in, so your body works the best for you. And like, I think we all go through phases where we're not so good to ourselves, and that teaches us. And like, I look back and I'm like, I'd never do that to myself now. But it's all good. It's all good when you look back. It's like, oh, I learned all these lessons, and then I'm able to share that and hopefully get other people there faster than I got there, without having to go the course that I did, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And gratitude has played a big role in that. Yeah. So when you're training, doing your personal training, do you talk to your clients about gratitude?
I do. That's a big part. Just everything starts with gratitude. Like, if you're not grateful for, I don't know, it just doesn't make anything good if you're not grateful. Like, I'm grateful every day I wake up. I'm like, thank you that I'm here. Because there's times when I'm like, am I supposed to be here? Yeah, I'm supposed to be here. Like, but I think we all question that at different times in our lives, and like, just being happy to get up in the morning and, yay, what's today going to bring me? And that's, my photography does that a lot for me. Just, what's the adventure going to be today? What am I going to see today? Like, how am I going to be able to share that with people? It's a beautiful thing. And my messages, I love running up to people, and like, they probably think I'm a little strange. Like, what's she giving me? Just run up and give them something, and then I run off. Or I'll leave it for somebody, and then they pick it up, and you see them smile. Or it's just like it interrupts whatever's going on, especially now. Like, there's so many crazy things going on in people's heads, and like, they get like a little interruption of, you're awesome. Like, things are going to be okay. You're going to get through this. Like, that's the universe speaking through me to them. Like, they needed to hear that. you know, and whether or not they're ready to hear that is up to them. But I feel like that's what I'm here to do. Whether they think I'm a little strange, that's okay. But
I doubt that. And, you know, I'm so glad you used the word interrupt, you know, because that's such a powerful term when you start thinking about how the brain works, because the brain gets in these loops, right? And so when, you know, when we bring something new into the brain's thought patterns that, you know, interrupt those negative thought patterns and shift it to something positive, it's so powerful. And, you know, using a little affirmation slip, or, you know, or writing down a gratitude list just interrupts that process, you know, even if it's just for a few minutes, it can help shift things long term. And, you know, that we don't necessarily understand, you know, when you don't understand how the brain works, it's hard for people to realize how something as simple as, you know, reading an affirmation can really interrupt that process that keeps looping through our heads until you slip in an interruption. And then it, you know, it kind of jerks the brain out of that loop. And, you know, if you can do that enough, you know, you can break those looping cycles after time. So, you know, there's other tools that you will need to use in addition to that, but this is one of those things that is so powerful, and it's a really powerful tool. And, you know, it's not going to solve all your problems, but it's certainly an excellent tool. And, you know, going back to the sunset meditation, that's an interruption, right? It's an interruption because you have to pay attention to when the sun's setting. You have
right.
to, you schedule your day around it so you can photograph it. It's an interruption, you know? And so it's a welcome, a happy interruption. Like a lot of times we associate with that word a negativity, but actually in this instance, interruption is a very positive, very, very healing, good thing. It's a really great tool. And so, you know, I'm all for the big I love interruption. Interruption's a good thing. So I love it, you know. And it just made me think of this one time when I was meditating. I was on this meditation retreat, and it was 21 days in silence. It was insane. And there was we were in the rainforest, and it was raining the whole time, like so loud and so deafening that most of the time you felt like you were completely alone, like the only person on the earth, because you were just separated by this sound that was so intense, and you couldn't hear anybody else. And you know, it was crazy. And so this tree fell in the middle, like we're all meditating and the rain's pouring down, and then all of a sudden it was interrupted by this tree falling. And if you've never heard a tree fall, oh my God, it is like you don't know what's happening. And because our eyes were closed, so we couldn't see what was happening. And you just, the sound it makes, like the crackling before it actually falls and everything, it's really can be really scary, intense if you don't know what it is. And it was such an interruption, you know. And then afterwards, you know, people were sharing their experiences of that, and some were really in fear, and some were welcoming the message of, like, you know, all the crap falling away from their mind, like the symbology of things being cleared away, all of that. But, you know, it's like interruptions aren't necessarily a bad thing. They can be really good. And I love that you use that word. So April, is there any last things that you wanted to share with us today about anything that we've talked about, or anything we haven't that you would like to share?
Oh, I have, here's one of my, can you see that?
Hold it up higher, like kind of in front of your face. I think we'll actually get it in, like, yeah, up there. You go. There you go. Oh my God, that's gorgeous. That's absolutely stunning. Wow. So you guys, you see, like her photographs of the sunsets are just freaking amazing. And you got to check her out on social media, check out her website, get your stocking stuffers for everyone. These are great. And, you know, I think, April, you were also talking to me about starting to sell your photographs. Is that in the works still, or?
Yeah, I have them on my embracedetours.com website. Getting that going now, so I just got to do it.
Yeah, please do, because we love to have them. They're really amazing. So, because, you know, think about it, like if you want to do the sunset meditation and you have one of her photographs, like you have it right there every night. So you're ready to go. So, and they're just beautiful to have anyway. So April, thank you so much for coming on today. We really appreciate you sharing your information, your photos, your light with the world. You are a beautiful, beautiful light and healer, and we're so happy you're here and, you know, sharing everything you've got with us. So stocking stuffers, guys, and we'll see you next time on Conscious Collaboration Cafe. Thanks for joining us today.